Blessed be the name of Yahweh. Blessed be your name. Blessed be the name of Yahweh. Blessed be your glorious name.
Hi, the purpose of this video is to explain how we make our jug lines for catfish. But before we do that, I want to talk about the importance of prayer before we go fishing, because the Bible says the horse is made ready for the day of battle, but the battle belongs to the Lord. So we spend hours each week in preparation for the fishing trip. We get all of our equipment ready. We go over the rods, the reels, the jugs, the bait, the boat, the motors, and so on. And we make sure it's all ready, but the battle belongs to the Lord. So the most important, probably only takes 2 or 3 minutes that we spend, is asking for the Lord's blessing in accordance with the promise of Genesis to be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth and subdue it, and rule over the fish. That's what we're hoping to do, is rule over the fish. But since the Bible says, Jesus says in the Bible that all authority in heaven and on earth has been given unto me, unto Jesus. So we want to ask him, because he's got the battle and he can deliver the fish into our hands. All right, so a lot of different jug line designs out there. And I fish with the ones that use the PVC and the rebar. And those are nice setups. Those are a little more appropriate are necessary for night fishing, because you can hear that rebar hit the bottom of the PVC tube. You can see it standing upright in the water. Maybe have a little bit of reflective tape around here, and you know which ones to go check without the level of visibility that's available in the daytime. But I don't fish much at night on the jugs. My typical approach to jug fishing is to go out first thing in the morning and throw out a dozen jugs and still fish kind of close by where I can see them, or the reverse in the afternoon, go out about 3 o'clock, throw out a dozen jugs and watch them. So visibility in the daytime is what's important to me, but what's also important is sort of cost. And so the PVC designs can cost $3 to $5 depending on the details, and get the simpler noodle designs where you just cut off a piece of the noodle about 11 inches and tie a fishing line around it. These are much more cost effective with the noodle contribution, costing less than $1 per section of noodle, and then it depends on your choices with line and hook and sinker how much the rest of it costs. But the total cost can be somewhere, probably keep it around $1 per noodle, depending on which hooks and which sinkers you choose. So one thing you'll notice in our current design is I bought a little thicker noodle than we used last time. This is the last group that I made, and we've gone to the thicker noodle for a couple of reasons. Some of the places we fish, you get a little wave action going on, and those thinner noodles can kind of hide and be a little harder to see from, say, 100, 200 yards away. So going to the thicker noodles. The other things that we've noticed with the thinner noodles is you get a big, 15 or 20 pound catfish on these, and they can hold them under the water for a while. Not that big of a deal. You keep watching the area, it's going to pop back up somewhere, and you know where to go chase it. But the thicker noodle actually displaces about twice the water, so it's about twice as hard to pull under. Got a lot more drag on it. The fish is going to tire itself out more quickly pulling it around. Okay, so we want to design our jugs to fit into a milk crate, because that makes for handy storage on the boat. You just kind of stack them up row by row in a milk crate. So we want to cut them to a size that fits in the milk crate. So it's not rocket science. Just line it up and cut them to the size that's going to fit in the milk crate. All right. Then you need to give some thought to how deep or how long the line is going to be. Now, most of the places I jug for catfish, I like the weight to be on the bottom, because I don't like all my jugs blowing across the lake or blowing across the cove. So most of the places I fish can be 5 to 10 feet deep. So I actually design the jugs. I make the line is 50-pound monofilament test line, and I make it 13 feet long, because that enables me to put the weight about a foot or two from the hook, a foot or two above the hook, and that way the weight sits on the bottom and we don't have too many of them blowing across the lake if we drop them in the right spot. If you drop them in the water a little too deep, we try and arrange so that the wind is blowing toward the nearest shore, so it just blows into the shallower water and then, you know, stays there as opposed to blowing across the lake. So the knot that we use on the side that we connect to the jug is really just a uni knot. Uni knot's nice in this application because as it pulls, it's going to tend to get a little narrower, and rather than sliding off the jug, it's just going to squeeze the jug where it pulls. The other thing that we like about the little bit bigger jugs is a lot of times as you're bringing in the fish, you're kind of wrapping it up like this. And this whole wrapping process goes faster with a little larger diameter jug. It takes fewer wraps to get the full 12 or 13 feet on there. Alright, so the next thing I want to mention is the sinker. And we've gone from sinkers that weigh about 1 ounce, we've gone up a little larger to sinkers that weigh closer to 2 ounces. And egg sinkers are our preference. And the reason that we've gone up in size is to reduce the blowing around out there. When they do happen to get a windy day, the wind can drag those 1 ounce, those half-ounce sinkers around a little more on the bottom than it can drag the 2 ounce sinkers. So we slide the egg sinker on, and then what we do is we use a toothpick, wedge the toothpick in, break it off, wedge the toothpick in the other side, break it off. And so this provides a little bit of adjustability just by pulling with your hand of exactly where the sinker is relative to the hook, but it'll hold it in place reasonably well. Alright, so the next thing to talk about is the hook. We've tried different sizes of hooks on the jugs, and of course the trade-off is you go to a smaller hook and you're more likely to get the smaller catfish, the 1 and 2 pound catfish. So what we've done is we've gone to a 2/0, and this is a 2/0 Mustad hook, and the reference number on the box of Mustad hooks here is 92677, and we bought 50 hooks, and the price tag on here is about $5.49, so it's a little more than a dime a piece. So it's fairly cost effective on the hooks. Now you can go, and we've got some jugs with 3/0 and 4/0 hooks. And the trade-off there is those bigger hooks are a little less likely to slide out of a larger catfish's mouth without catching it, but a little less likely for the smaller catfish to be able to get them in their mouth. So we're going over the 2/0 hooks, and just last weekend we caught a 19-pound flathead and a 24-pound flathead on these 2/0 hooks. So we don't think we're missing many big fish, and we are getting a lot of the smaller fish that we might miss with the larger hooks. You can tie your favorite knot. I happen to use a uni knot here too, because it's strong and I can tie it pretty quick, so things work out really well. Alright, so 2/0 hook, 2 ounce sinker. We've gone to 50-pound monofilament test line. I'm not sure how well that's showing up on the video. And one of the things I like about the 50-pound line is it's strong, and it doesn't cut guests' hands. Now my hands I work outside enough, I do enough with my hands that my hands aren't too soft, so I can pull in jug lines with braid. I can pull in jug lines with smaller monofilament. But a lot of the guests in my boat, and jugging's a lot easier if you have one guy on the motor and you have another guy working the jugs. If the guy up front, your guest, can handle the jugs, can pull in the fish, can pull it out of snacks, whatever he needs to do without beating up his hands, without wearing gloves. So for guests' comfort and not cutting their hands, I've gone to the 50-pound monofilament. Last year I was using a 65-pound braid. It also seems like we're catching a few more fish on the monofilament than we were in the braid. I don't really think catfish are sensitive to braid, but might be something else going on between one year and the other. And so that's all there is to it. So I'm going to sit here and probably make 12 or 15 of the jugs just like this. So remember to pray when you go fishing, and you might select bigger hooks or smaller sinkers depending on your individual conditions. You might select a longer string length if you're fishing in deeper water, or some people actually plan for their bait only to be a few feet below the water line, and then they allow their jugs to blow around. That requires a little more attention, especially on the windier days, but that can be made to work as well.